I know it's been a few weeks that we didn't do any updates or live feeds on our YouTube channel, so I do apologize for that. But we're trying to survive in a crazy world. It's been just really busy for me on Fridays. This time of year, it's very hot here in Florida. We also know that winter time is not that far away, so we've been working. I promise you that we haven't been slacking. So, but I'm glad to be back and give you guys some updates with what's been going on. I see Ahmad on. What's up? Glad to see you. Let me know that you guys could hear me loud and clear. So, um, yes, it has been a while. It's just life is busy. I mean, the kids are going back to school, and just everything. Just operating a business is very difficult, very difficult. So, especially when you're dealing with fish, and you know, we gotta have these fish breeding, growing up, everything going smooth. So, but just glad to be back. So while I'm up front here, I will go ahead and show you the big tanks. We haven't uh, we haven't done a lot of changes to them. We're still letting them mature and cycle. We've added. Um, I think there's been a what has added? Nothing yet. I know we still got the Cardinals, and they're doing very well. We're going to add some different L numbers and dwarf cichlids to this tank here pretty soon. This tank we ended up taking the peacock bass out of because they were just really messy, and they were making the Savannah really nervous. The Savannah have been breeding in here, and they're a lot happier now that the peacock bass are not in here. So even though the peacock bass did not, you know, try to eat the Savannah because they were a little big for them, it still makes for a lot happier tank for the Savannah. So we're going to be adding uh, some more. We have some Juropari. We have a trio of Juroparis that we're going to add to this tank later. So that's exciting. The Gold Gar, he's doing good. Um, we're still waiting for the offspring to get mature before we could uh, breed the Gold Gar and hopefully have some Gold Gar babies. Um, we do have some of his babies in here now, and I do believe that one is a female, and I think the other ones are males, just judging from their body characteristics. So I do have other Golgar offspring growing up, and I have some in a pond growing up. I've got some in vats. I've got them in like four different locations, and some of them are getting close. So I'm hoping in the next couple weeks that those females start becoming gravid and showing signs of carrying eggs. And once they do that, we're going to go ahead and breed the Golgar. So excited about that. So as far as the aquariums go, you guys tell me if there's something that you're wanting to see. I'll do my best to go around and find it. I'm not, there's like 1,000 aquariums in here, so I might not be able to find the exact fish, but I could try. So things are constantly, getting moved around, new fish coming in. But I will show you some of the stuff here. Most of the fish on this outside row are male peacocks and haps. OBs are looking really nice. They got lots of red and blue and orange on them. You see the dominant one right there is looking really well. Lemon jakes are just starting to get some good color, but those guys are looking really well. Um, what else we got? We have some Eureka Reds here, and you can see a couple of them are really showing dominant markings. And I think by this point, everybody that keeps male peacocks and haps will know that the dominant ones are going to be showing the best markings, and then the subdominants will not show great markings, especially in this size tank. This is a 40-gallon tank, so there's not a lot of room for them to claim much territory. So SP44s, those guys are always showing up really good colors. What I like about the SP44s for Victorian, they are aggressive, but not like Nairi type aggressive. Like they're constantly fussing, kind of like the German blue rams do. But never do I see them actually fight to the death like some of the other ones. So those are always a good one to have. Some young dragon blood starting to show some good markings. A little bit young though. Everything's a little bit young. So zebra obliquidens, those guys are always looking really nice. I did miss some questions, so I'm going to look and see. Oh wow, we got quite a few comments. I didn't see them all coming in. So what's up, everyone? All right, so that guy Mike checking in from Panama, Florida. Nice. Let's see, who else? Jeff's Aquatic. Everything's good, man. I tell you what, no matter how stressful, it gets in the business and working and dealing with life's day to day, I'm always just, grounded by knowing how grateful I am to be able to be working with beautiful fish like this for a living. I mean, how cool is that? Some people go to work and, sit in an office or, do things that they don't prefer to do. And I'm actually doing something that I'm very passionate about and love, so I'm very, very thankful. So we got some sulfur head peacocks that just came in earlier today. So let me keep it on those guys. When they come in so they grow up in the ponds. They breed them indoors. We grow them up in the ponds. We bring them inside the greenhouse. We get them, cleaned out, sorted, make sure everything's good, and then at that point they come over to the warehouse. But when we do put them in the aquarium, they are not, they're more like a wild type behavior on the fish, to where they're not used to people, being in front of the tank. So it's kind of cool because within a few days of them being in here and us taking good care of them, they're going to be out just like these zebra obliques are. They'll be out in the front of the tank, like, hey, I'm here. These people are taking good care of me and just give me some more food, So here's the albino sunshine. Let's see. Let me get back to the comments. David's on. We're doing David. It's been overwhelming for me. It really has. So, it's, the warehouse has been just fantastic for us as a company, but it also has brought on a lot of new challenges that we're having to adapt to, so it's taken a lot of my personal, time and energy to focus on, which I knew whenever, we built this, that we were going to make adjustments as we grew, so we're at that period now that we're making some adjustments. And one thing is our water that comes into the warehouse. We've been having, the water going into the pond, and then we pump from the pond to the warehouse. And, while there's a lot of benefits to that, we've noticed there's a lot of cons to it. Like probably the biggest con is that as we're pumping from the pond into the warehouse, we're getting a lot of fine particulates, that we're not able to filter out. If you look in the bottom down there, you'll see some of that brown particulates that it's coming out. It's almost like a clay type substance that our bead filter, it only filters down to like 30 microns. So, anything that's 30 microns or less, which is usually like really fine particles, are coming into the tank. And I will say that the matte filters are just fantastic, because we'll pump the water in when we're doing water changes, and it'll be cloudy, and then within a short amount of time, like within a few hours, the matte filters picked up every little piece of particulate inside of it. But then when we go to clean the Matin filter, it just is loaded full of that, that small fine particulates. So it's um, causing our maintenance to be a lot more than it should be. So we're going to work on creating a new water source for the warehouse that's going to be a lot cleaner without those little fine particulates. So we're in the kind of the developing process of that, and I'm hoping that it makes our maintenance inside this building be a lot easier. So same thing with the soft water. We're creating soft water by putting the phosphoric acid in the water to bring the pH down, and that's worked good for most of the soft water fish. But even that water, even though we get the pH to 6.8, the hardness is still high. So we're in the process of changing our water source in here. We're going to get a really big RO unit that will keep up with our demand. And after doing some research on the RO units, the technology's gotten a lot better. So I'm excited that we're going to have better water for these soft water fish. So that's going to be exciting. So we got the yellow Congo tetras. Those guys are really popular. What else we got? Actually, I'm gonna go through some of the comments, and maybe there's some requests for people wanting to see a particular fish. I'll keep it on the Corridors Adolphi, which are some wild caught, had success breeding many years ago, and I'm going to start a breeding program for quarries in the future. They do need a little bit specific environment compared to other South American fish that we breed. Like, it's not just soft water. They don't really do well breeding wise in high temps. They like the cooler, hot in the summer, but at some point we're going to dedicate an area that we can keep a little bit cooler. So that's going to be exciting because there's so many nice quarries out there. So let me go through. Mauricio from Mexico, what's up? Mike Francis, Harvey Simpson, OnlyFins. OnlyFins is asking for juvenile starry nights. So one problem is that they grow so fast in the ponds that we rarely ever get 2 to 3 inch. Like, if we do, it's usually springtime when we set up the new breeders. But I know we're going to be turning over the breeders here pretty soon, probably the end of summer, and we might get some smaller ones in when we bring it in. But unfortunately, oars and a pond, but it's most of them are going to be that 3 to 4 or 5 inch, all the way up to 5 inch. And the pro to that is that you don't have to spend the time to grow them up because the juveniles are very small and not very colorful. But I do understand a lot of people. I like seeing the transformation of these fish. I like seeing them be just a plain looking juvenile fish that's silver, and then watch it transform into something spectacular. So yeah, I mean, if you want, we do have a waiting list. You could email us, and we could put you down for some small starry nights, when we do get some. But they grow really fast in the ponds. So here's some of the Juraparia that are going to be going in the show tank. So excited about those because I feel like we'll have success breeding them in that show tank. So it's kind of a win-win. We get to admire them in a beautiful tank, and then then we get to watch them have babies, and then we get to grow the babies up. It's just an awesome transformation. Keep it on the rams here. So these are the black rams, and whoever came up with the name black ram, they should not have called it a black ram. So we make sure on our website that yes, we call them black rams, but the picture you'll see It looks like a German blue, but it will have more black in the body. Now, the good news is that the more the black rams are getting bred, the more we're seeing a better all black coloration. Like a lot of our breeders, they're showing like almost solid black, which I think the ram community calls that the dark night. So, you know, as we continue to breed them, and we have a local breeder that also breeds them, as we continue to breed these, I think the better they're going to be, you know, the black markings on these fish. So um, really nice, inexpensive pleco here. This is the clown pleco. Just let me reach my arm in there and move that driftwood around, see if I can get them to. These are very, very hardy, great little cleaners. They don't get too big, just a good L number for aquariums. So we did get some gold rams in. We were out of the gold rams for a good part of the summer, but we're back into the gold rams. Those are also really popular. And then German blues, you can see those guys are looking spectacular. I mean, I can see a female all gravid right there, looking like she's ready to have babies. So they're really nice. We do very, very well with our rams. So I keep it on the ram tank, and I'm going to go back to some questions. All right. Shabab, what's up? Try to get this camera. Shabab's asking for any yellow. So like right now, the only one that's off the top of my head is the sunshine, or not sunshine, lemon jakes. I do know that we're close to having a batch of sunshines ready, and same thing with the Mallory. That's really the only three that are yellow, you know. We do have the Nakandi Bay. Those have got some yellow on them, but it's been tough. Like we're waiting for these fish to get up to size and bring them in, but it's the demand has outweighed the breeding this year, and we're working on correcting that for the future. So we're getting more organized with our breeding programs and having a better idea of how many breeders we need, you know, to be able to have enough peacocks and haps to supply the demand, you know. So it's so this is another one. This is the blue orchid, and really love this fish. This is a fish that took me a long time to get a, you know, good strain of them, and these ended up coming in from Germany, and I've been really excited about these guys because they're, I mean, barely 3 inches, and they're already showing like really good markings. So but again, this is like the first batch that we offered. You can see that a lot of the males have been sold already, so it's just one of those things. If you want them, I'd get them now, because it's going to be several months before we have any more of these guys available, you know. So it kind of comes in waves, especially with the new types where we don't have like big breeding groups. We'll have you know, we'll have them available, you know, for a while, and then as soon as they sell out, we're back to waiting for the next batch to grow up. So you know, because we breed most of these fish ourselves, it just you know, it's just basically us waiting for the fish to get right, you know, to get big enough. So, but I think it's going to get better. Like I said, we really put a big focus on our breeding this summer. That's where most of our time and energy is gone, is to get as many, you know, good strains of these fish breeding and fry growing up. And it's been a really good growing year for us. So I think this winter is going to be a lot of nice peacocks and haps available. So I know we have lots of the female saffrans. There's actually one small male in there, but actually 2 small males. But this is a unique fish. We might have a few left, but I'll have to check. Um, we are getting some that are not yellow, so we're going to grow those guys up. I did see a lot of them transition into yellow, but I'm going to be curious on how the ones that are not yellow end up growing up and turning out. But um, every time these go up on the website, they do not stay around for very long. They sell really, really fast. So we got the OB Borlei. So you see that male back there looking really, really nice. We got the Madoka white lips. In fact, I believe we probably just ran out of the Madokas. We just had a customer from Canada this morning that ordered a group of 25 of the 3 to 4 inch. So it's going to be waiting again for more of these Madokas to get ready. So that's a fish that we want to increase our breeding production on and have more of them in the future. So not constantly running out of them. What else did we get in? Oh, I'll show you the black veil angels. These came from a local breeder, and I was excited to see them. They're very, very nice size and color on these guys. So that's the black veils. That guy's asking for, that guy Mike's asking for Red Empress. We do not have any Red Empress. That's been one that we've been out of a lot this summer. I do have a friend that breeds them locally that we're a good chance we're going to get some from him next week. So, on these fish that we're out of and you're wanting some, make sure you do that out of stock notification. That has worked really, really well for people that are wanting a particular fish, and as soon as we put them back available, you will get a emailed reminder or email notification that they're back in stock. So make sure you're signing up for that out of stock notification, because on some of these fish, like as soon as we put them up, like literally within a short amount of time, they're sold out. So it's worked really well, allowing people to get that notification and know when they're back in stock. So some nice silver angels. Always love the silvers just because of the barring and the more of the wild type look to them. Some of those guys just have spectacular markings on them. So, and then what else we got? The plants. I walked right by them. So we redid our plant tanks. So you're going to see a lot more plant options coming from us. We increased our lighting. That was one issue that we had. Let me pan the camera up so you can see. But we added some additional LED lighting to the plants, and they've only been up and running for 1 week, and that's made a big difference on the plants being kept in these tanks, because our lighting previous to that was inadequate for a lot of the plants that we were carrying in here. So we upgraded our lighting in the plant section, and it's working out really, really well. So dwarf sag is looking really good. The kabamba, look at that. That's awesome. The crypt, the banana plants. Plants are looking really, really nice. So pretty excited about that. The jungle valve, it's starting to come back good, but a lot of the plants from the aquatic nurseries, they do grow them where the roots are in the water, but the plant is out of the water. So we're trying to get where we go ahead and acclimate those plants to being fully submerged before we send them out, because what ends up happening is the plant it'll die back, and we don't want it to die back in your tank and then you have to wait for it to grow again. So we're trying to get that initial shock out of the way, so it'll be better in your tank. Even though the plant will die back when it's fully submerged, it's still, you know, when you buy a nice, beautiful green plant, you want it to stay nice and beautiful and green. So, redhead tapajos. So we finally got a good batch of those guys in, and I do not know how much longer they'll be here because those have been really, really popular fish. That was one that there had lots and lots of people waiting on the out of stock notification on, and as soon as we put them back up, they started going out the door fast. So we got a couple different sizes of those. Let me get this on the Geophagus sabini, and then we're going to. Oh, somebody's asking for the dovais, so I'll go down to the dovais. So we actually are keeping a lot of the dovais down in the greenhouse because they are so aggressive. Even if we have just a few of them in a 75, they are constantly just fighting with each other. So they do a lot better when we keep them in the 200-gallon tanks down in the greenhouse. But we do have a few dovais up here I could show you, but they're not going to be up here much longer, and then they're going to the greenhouse. So as we get orders, we go to the greenhouse and gather those fish, because just you know, you guys know how mean the dovais are. When you have a group of them in a 75-gallon tank, it's just all-out war. So I see David asked about the dovais too. So I love seeing a pair of dovais. I think you get the best coloration out of the males and the females when you have a mated pair. But it is kind of difficult to get a mated pair that the male won't kill the female. So, you know, where I had the best success with getting mated pairs is I would get a small group of young juveniles, 2 to 3 inches, let them grow up together, and then when they start maturing, you'll start seeing them pair off, you know. But even if you bought a male and a female, you're probably going to have to keep a really close eye on the male to make sure he doesn't attack the female. A lot of people will use dividers in their tanks. In fact, some of the breeders will use dividers when they're breeding them. They'll put the flower pot that the male's going or the female's going to lay the eggs in next to the divider, and the male will shoot his sperm through the divider onto the egg. So here's some of the dovais here, and like I said, they've been really aggressive. So you can see that one male that's collared up nicely, and you know, when they're this size, they don't really do justice with just how beautiful that fish is. I mean, if you search for dovais from Imperial Tropicals, even on social media, you're going to see these in our customers' tanks with what they look like when they get, you know, large and beautiful, and it's just a stunning fish. But it's not a fish that's a community fish at all. So they just, where they come from in nature, it's, you know, very, very aggressive. Only the aggressive survive. So they learn how to fight and defend, and you know. But these are a few of the dovais that we have up. This is like the 4 to 5 inch range, but that's the dovais. Let's go. I guess we can show off some of the rainbow. Oh, we got the Turkana jewels. Those guys are really nice. So this is a nice jewel cichlid that does not get very big, and they do not get very aggressive. So in a planted tank or even a community tank, these guys are really, really nice additions to your aquarium. So really excited to have these guys available. So we've been working with a lot of local breeders and even hobbyists that are breeding, you know, fish. We can't breed everything, so if somebody's got a desire to breed fish, and we're more than happy to let them know what fish, you know, we don't breed, or what fish we breed that we would be more than happy to have somebody local breed it. It does get more difficult when you have to ship the fish to us because of the, shipping cost, and then also with the, you got to really know how to pack fish, especially if you're, sending, wholesale box lots of them. You gotta, you gotta have the packing down pat. So, but there's still a few that they actually, we have them ship fish to us from out of state, and they have really spectacular fish. So here's the Sablees rainbows. What else we got? We got the Price Eye, which is a really rare rainbow that only shows like its spectacular colors when it's breeding, and that's usually only in the morning, first thing. So Price Eye is not, one of the most colorful ones, but they are really, really nice. Lake Uter, I think we brought in a batch of like 50 from our grow outs, and those guys didn't stay around long. I think those guys are waiting to be shipped out. And then we've got the Aquarium strain of Bosemani. Those guys are looking really nice. The rainbow, popularity in rainbows is growing like crazy. It's just, I think people are learning how to keep them better, and give them the proper water conditions and environment, which they're pretty forgivable with, water parameters. Like, it doesn't have to be very, very, hard or soft. It could be moderate, temperatures. So, I mean, you're kind of getting the colors of like you do with the peacocks and haps, but you don't have the same aggression that you do with the peacocks and haps. So I set up a rainbow tank at my house, and when I first put them in there, they were not, showing very much color. But now, like, every time I walk by the tank, I gotta stop and like, wow, those are some really, really beautiful fish. So it's really nice to watch the transformation and have all the beautiful colors that aren't going to kill each other like some of the other cichlid types will, Got the yellow rainbows. The males are just now starting to get some good coloration. What else we got? Kamaka rainbows. Really nice. Kamakas are nice. They don't get very big. We've got the Picta, Melantinia pictus. That's another really rare rainbow fish that's not often found in the hobby. Parkinsoni, those guys are looking really nice. So, and we are expanding our rainbows. So, like, we're finally starting to get some good returns back from a lot of the new species that we've been working on. So I think you're going to see a lot of new rainbows available to the hobby. So we got the Millennium rainbows. Those guys are always a very popular one. We got the Western rainbows. We got the Madagascar rainbows. What else do we got? Dwarf neons. We got some Alani Wahogos. These are really popular too. They don't have much color at this size, but as soon as they get mature, they get really nice markings. We got the Blair rainbows. I like the rainbows too, Lynn. I just, I like the peacefulness of them, Very, very relaxing. Got a bad glare on this tank with the lights, but thread fins, those are spectacular. And what's nice about our thread fin rainbows is we do have males and females, and you should keep them with females in the tank because the males are going to be displaying and showing a lot better coloration by having females in the tank than if you just had all male thread fins. So Irony rainbows. So these are really cool because they're like the millenniums. So they're a red, a red fish, but they get the like gold spackling down the side of the males that makes them really, really unique. So, what else? Got some deep water creek. Guys are looking nice. Tom, I think it's the combination of the weak signal with the video. It's inside a metal building, so right now I'm on 5G, and sometimes when it's streaming live, it's not as high quality, and then once we upload it, the quality gets a lot better. So it might be, hopefully on the playback. I never go back and watch these videos, so it's something we'll have to kind of tune into. I know, anytime you're streaming, it takes a lot more bandwidth, and it kind of cuts back on the quality. So we have these Paratropolis, Menorambo, those. So I do have a few people waiting on those, and I think we're going to keep a group of these back for future breeders. So I'm kind of excited about keeping a group of these. In fact, I'm thinking about putting them up in the show tank just to watch them grow up. So all right, so I went through quite a bit. So let me check on any more comments that I missed. I guess I could show you some of the Tanganyikans while I'm sitting here. So this is the Ventralis red cap. If you guys are into Tanganyikans, this is a really, really nice one that does good in like a community type setup for Tanganyikans. Really rare one right here, which these days it seems like all the Tanganyikans are rare because they're hard to get, but we are working on breeding a lot of these. These came from a friend of mine that breeds them. So, I think we're moving forward, we're going to have a lot more Tanganyikans available. So, just like the shell dwellers, this is the multifasciatus. Those guys are doing really well. These are some babies that we pulled from our breeder tank over here. So, and we got some gold ocellatus. These guys, a customer has been waiting on these for a long time. This is a shelly that's very, very hard to find, and we can never breed enough of them. It's not as easy of one to breed. So all right, I'm gonna go through some of these questions. Mark Straight's asking what kind of swordtails. I could walk through the swordtail section real quick. Not a big selection on swordtails. It's been another fish that, we don't breed as many of them as we used to. Sorry about that. My gimbal just died. But I'll show you some of them. Camera's gonna get a little shaky. And the water quality, they just are doing a water change, so the water quality is not going to be that great. So that's the blue. We got the sunsets here. We got the brick swordtails here. What else? We got the red whack platies, which we still breed those guys. It looks so nice coming out of the ponds. Lots of nice red on them. We got the creamsicle mollies. Guys are doing really well. Swordtail, we got some neon swords right here. These guys are doing well. Green swordtails. Those guys are always really nice. It's another one. I really like the wild look to the swordtails. In fact, when I went to the ACA show in Kentucky, they had the ALA convention, American Livebearer, and I talked to a few friends that are in the ALA, and we're going to start getting some wild type swordtails from them to breed, like the Montezuma swords. They're we're excited to get some of the wild types too. But this is the marigold. Those guys are really nice. So I showed multifasciatus and then some gold ocellatus shellies that we're holding back for. The gold ocellatus are not for sale. I was just showing those off because you know, they're beautiful fish, and I'm excited about, you know, having a few at least for someone that's been waiting. But we pulled 10 of our juveniles out for him. But one problem with our shellies is the breeding room gets very hot in the summertime, and the shellies, once the temperature gets up to like 80 degrees, they slow down on the breeding. But I think this fall, when temperatures start coming back down, it's going to be a lot better. So so I'm just going to start at the bottom. I'm going to answer as many of these questions because I'm going to wrap it up here in a few minutes. But Mark Straight, appreciate that. Definitely anything that you have questions on fish availability wise, shoot us an email, and our crew's going to get right to getting an answer to you. Jake is asking, hey Mike, how do you treat wild caught L number plecos when you receive them? Do you medicate the food? Medicating the food is a good option if the fish are eating, but sometimes when they come in, they don't go right to eating food. They're stressed, so we have to add it to the water. But a typical shipment of wild caught plecos will go through a worming protocol to be treated for worms. They'll go through a parasite treatment for parasites, and even metronidazole potentially for internal parasites. So that's generally the main ones that we use. Antibiotics are only used if we can't turn the fish around with just good water quality. So sometimes we'll end up having to go to an antibiotic, but that's usually a last resort. With bacteria, we try to just do really good, clean water conditions and water changes, and that usually brings them around. So, and just, you know, so people understand why wild caught fish have to be treated like that is, in the wild, these fish will have parasites and worms living on them as a host to the parasite and worm, and the fish will be fine in the wild. But as soon as you bring them into the you know, holding facilities, the fish gets stressed and the conditions are not optimal for them to be carrying parasites and worms. So that's why in an aquarium, the fish's immune system will get weak, and the parasite and the worms will take over. So so it's good anytime you buy wild caught fish to make sure that they've been through a treatment protocol before you order them. And even if you order them, you know, from us, or you pick them up at a local store, or you get them from a friend, or wherever you get them, you should always quarantine new arrivals. So before you go adding any new fish to your existing tank, it is highly recommended to set up a quarantine tank before you're adding them. That way you can monitor the fish, let them adjust to your water parameters, your environment, and then if the fish does show signs of needing to be treated with anything, then you're not having to treat your whole tank. You're only having to treat the quarantine tank with the fish that is needing to be treated. So, all right. So, let me get through. Ali Sean says the video. Ali Sean, also don't think I forgot about you. All right. So, I know you wanted the Asian rummy nose. You know, when we brought them in, we thought we had some females in the batch because they weren't showing any color, but we ended up taking them and growing them up in the greenhouse, and they look spectacular. In fact, I got to go show them to you. But I'm seeing 0 females, which is a disappointment because I was really hoping to get females in with these, but this isn't all the ones that we brought in. This is just ones that we brought up recently, but I'm hoping that when we go through the rest of the batch, we find some females, because I'm really looking forward to trying to breed these guys, because they're not very difficult to breed and they're really, really nice. So, and that's the Asian rummy nose, the naked reservoirs. So while I keep it on the puffers, these guys are going to be going up, the Fahaku puffers, the Nile puffers. So those guys have been in quarantine for months because they just did not come in very healthy, and we had to, well, just to give you an idea, they came in on 5/13. So what is that? A little over 2 months ago? No, 3 months ago. But we would not sell them until we got these guys all cleaned up and ready to go. So those guys are going to be going up on the site really soon. We got some future breeders on the Azul Peacock Bass. Those are going to be going to a bigger grow out. We finally got some HY 511 Tetras. Those guys are really popular. And then let me get these other questions. Dan Coate is asking, Madaka. No, we do not. That's a fish I've wanted to keep. I believe if that's the one I'm thinking of, that's the one that comes from, like, is it the Egyptian mouth brooder, I believe? And I think they need like salinity in their water to breed, but I'd like to get some one day. They're really nice. Alishan, no other Madagascars, but we are going to be slowly building up a collection of different Madagascars. There's not a lot of people that breed them, and that is a fish that we feel we should have more options for, because most of them are not found in the wild, or they're near extinction in the wild. So the more we could, let people know about the beautiful fish of Madagascar, maybe it'll help more towards some conservation efforts to protect the natural environment for these fish. So I appreciate it, Mikey Mike. Dan is asking for any Nicaragüensis cichlids, and we do have a local breeder that has them available. So I think next week we're going to bring in some, because that's something that we haven't had in quite some time. So we will. Jeff's Aquatics asking about any new plecos. What's on our site is pretty much what's available. We will be bringing in another shipment from Colombia soon. And later this fall, we'll be bringing in a new shipment from Brazil. And we got a lot of breeding groups that are starting to breed for us. So I think we're going to have more tank raised L numbers available in the future. So, all right, guys, I'm going to wrap it up. So, my camera's dead, so I appreciate you joining me today. And like I said, if you got any questions about our fish and what we do, feel free to shoot us an email. And like I said before, we appreciate all the support that you guys give us, and we're looking forward to the future and growing this hobby and getting more people into it and the educating part of it. So thank you, and have a good weekend and stay safe.